Section 2. The Proto Self. Here we can move on to the neurologist Antonio Damasio. He very explicitly claims that the self has a biological basis in the brain. Quote, "I have come to conclude that the organism, as represented inside its own brain, is a likely biological forerunner for what eventually becomes the elusive sense of self. The deep roots for the self, including the elaborate self, which encompasses identity and personhood, are to be found in the ensemble of brain devices which continuously and non-consciously maintain the body state within the narrow range and relative stability required for survival." End quote. Damasio calls the state of activity within this ensemble of brain devices the Proto Self. Quote, "The Proto Self is an interconnected and temporarily coherent collection of neural patterns which represent the state of the organism moment by moment at multiple levels of the brain." End quote. And the proto-self, Damasio states, is, quote, "the non-conscious forerunner for the levels of self which appear in our minds as the conscious protagonists of consciousness, core self, and autobiographical self." End quote. But Damasio is very clear that by proposing the proto-self as a biological basis for the core self and autobiographical self, he is not falling into the abyss of the homunculus trap. Quote, "The model of the body in the brain to which I am referring is nothing at all like the rigid homunculus creature of old-fashioned neurology textbooks. Nothing in it looks like a little human person inside a big person. The model perceives nothing and knows nothing. It does not talk and it does not make consciousness. Rather, this collection of brain devices is concerned with the automated management of the organism's life. It achieves this via a variety of innately set regulatory actions, quote, secretion of chemical substances such as hormones, as well as actual movements in viscera and the limbs," end quote. These actions depend on the information provided by nearby neural maps, which signal moment by moment the state of the entire organism. Quote, "Most importantly, neither the life-regulating devices nor their body maps are the generators of consciousness, although their presence is indispensable for the mechanisms that do achieve core consciousness." End quote. Rather than a particular location in the brain, the proto-self provides the organism with a dynamic reference point. Quote, "The proto-self does not occur in one place only, and it emerges dynamically and continuously out of multifarious interacting signals that span varied orders of the nervous system. It is a reference point at each point in which it is." end quote.